So welcome to the class, and in this I'm going to do the law of diminishing marginal utility. So in the previous class we talked about different types of utilities, two types basically, total utility and marginal utility. And in this we are going to do diminishing marginal utility. And it simply tells you that the more and more you have of a commodity, the utility that you derive from it gets less and less. And this was given the law. The law was given by Alfred Marshall. He developed it as a law, but it was first propounded by Gaussen, who was a German economist, and it's known as the fundamental law of consumption. There are some assumptions that we followed, and law of diminishing marginal utility is a very important concept to understand, say, consumers' equilibrium and to understand the law of demand. And each one of us, we like it or not, we come under this purview of the law of diminishing marginal utility for anything, for any product. So just have a look here. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the statement of the law. So what does the law say? That's a statement that we're going to talk about. That it states that as more and more units of a commodity are consumed, the marginal utility derived by the consumer from successive or additional units, it goes on decreasing. So this law was given or developed by Professor Alfred Marshall, but it was given by this German economist known by the name of Gaussen. It's known as the first consumption law of Gaussen, and it is really known as a fundamental law of consumption. So talking about that, let's just talk about these assumptions now. Assumptions are what? Supposition. If you don't suppose these, then the law doesn't stand. It's no more a law. For the law to be called a law, these assumptions have to be there. You have to suppose this, and only then can you go on. So the first is that constant consumption. The consumption process should be continuous. So then this law particularly is applicable when the process of consumption is continuous without any time gap. That is important. For example, talking about drinking water. If a consumer drinks 3 glasses of water at a time, then the marginal utility of each will decline. But if he drinks the second glass and the third glass of water in an interval of, say, certain hours, then each one will have a good marginal utility, perhaps even a greater marginal utility than before. Then another thing is that it should be homogeneous. That is, all the units of a commodity must be the same in all respects, in size and quality. Because if the units are non-homogeneous, if they are not the same, then the law cannot be applicable. For example, now let's take glass of water. If you take a glass of water in a huge glass first, and then you take in a little smaller one, then you start having water in small teacups and worse in spoons, and then you say, no, this law doesn't work. No, it will not work. The units have to be homogeneous. So, and then the suitable units, the size of the unit again of consumption should be suitable. So it comes to the same. It has to be the same. Now water, if I'm giving you water, then I give you juice, then I give you something else, it will be different. So homogeneous as well as suitable units. So this is what are the assumptions, and now we're going to explain the law with the help of a schedule and a diagram, which we've done before in a way, but have a quick look at it. So in this, what do you see? That The units of a commodity consumed are on the x-axis. On the y-axis is the marginal utility according to the table that is given. And what you notice is that as he has the first unit, say first unit marginal utility is 4, and thereupon it goes on diminishing. When he has the fifth unit, it is 0. That means he's fully satisfied, he's satiated. And then if he takes the sixth glass of water, it's too much, you might just have to throw up, so that is negative utility. So you know what, the law of diminishing marginal utility is true in all cases of consumption. It is the basis of all other laws of consumption. For example, the law of demand, which states that larger quantities will be bought at a lower price than at a higher price, is explained largely in terms of the principle of diminishing marginal utility. That means, why does the demand curve slope downwards? It's explained, or it's based on this explanation of the law of diminishing marginal utility. So this is what the law of diminishing marginal utility is all about. So, and of course there's another assumption that I didn't mention, that there should be no time interval between consumption of 2 units. Yeah, it is continuous. Yeah, we did that. And then also one more thing, that while we are consuming, the taste should not change and things like that. There should be no tantrum of that sort. So it's a very interesting concept, this law of diminishing marginal utility. So okay, so that's what it is. So law of diminishing marginal utility, a very important and easy law to understand, because it happens to all of us. We do experience it one way or the other. So a question can be, what do you mean by law of diminishing marginal utility? Explain with the help of, sometimes you'll get with the help of a diagram, sometimes with the help of a schedule. Just give whatever is asked. Okay.